We often get asked about what bobbin fill we use there. So we use a Glide product, which is made by Filtech from the USA, and we use their pre-wound bobbins. Okay, so they're pre-wound bobbins, and they're not ultra shiny, and they're not matte. They're in between. So they're a nice. They put a nice back on the bobbin of the the embroidery work there. They a little bit on the strong side, which we quite like. But the most important thing is that your machine likes them, and our machines like them. I actually use the Filtech in my machine at home. We use these in Janome 500. We use these in the Brothers. I mean, they work very well. So, but every brand has their own idea. So you make sure that you got the right bobbin case. Now, as in the case of Janome, they have either a red dot or they have a yellow dot. Brother has the different dot system in the middle, and they have paint on the screw of one of them, and then they have an unpainted screw on another. So depending on what your machine suggests, now make sure you have the appropriate bobbin case. And then you use the suggested thread that your brand suggests. Now, some have their own brands, some will suggest what they have in a shop. Ultimately, it's the result that you get. So we have a matte, fluffy-ish sort of bobbin thread here. You could use the self embroidery thread. What we quite often do when we're matching stuff, now we will actually put a bobbin with our embroidery thread and use that as a bobbin fill. One thing I must say is that, and it's a real thing that I'm really particular about, is that once you have used a pre-wound bobbin, you generally don't fill it again, because the exterior or the outer casing is not as strong as the ones that you get with your machine. You'll find that if you did a test between a pre-wound reused bobbin and your machine bobbin, you'll find that your machine will give you a better tension. Now, what are we looking at for tension or for bobbins? So we do a test. We type the word fox and we embroider it out. And so if you look at the X, you'll see that you've got 2/3 of the colour, or you've got 1/3 of colour, 1/3 of bobbin fill, 1/3 of colour. That is ideal tension, okay? So the word fox gives you all the directions that your machine can actually work in. So as long as the white thread doesn't come out to the very edge, you've got good tension. Now, when you're going around a circle, it's very hard to keep those corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, very hard to keep those really nice and even. Drop-in bobbin machines give you a different tension to a front-loading bobbin machine, but ideally we're looking for this. This is what we look at as being for perfection, is that X. So it's a third, a third, a third. If you can achieve that, you're going to have happy embroidery. People say, oh, you never touch your bobbin, or you never touch a screw, or what have you. You really do need to look at what your machine is set like and make the adjustments accordingly. Generally, the bobbin screw only needs to have a quarter turn, and you'll get perfection. One thing that I must say, though, is that when it comes to a bobbin thread, every time you get a new reel, you should do the fox test, because you are assuming that it's the same thread that you had last time. It may not be. Always, every box I get, I always test. Every reel of thread I test, because I buy them in the bigger reels, sometimes in pre-wind my own, I always test. So successful bobbin fill is also to do with successful settings. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe.